Rob here, co-creator of NextLevelGuitar.com. Hope all's going well, and I hope your guitar and musical journeys are going famously. I recently did a lesson where I taught a bunch of different exercises and how to make them musical. It was more about the musical part, less about the exercises, and I received some emails from students saying, hey, could you break down those exercises and explain them slow, because I did quite a few of them in there. So what I'm going to do this lesson is we'll break one of them out, and I'll show you how to use that exercise as a device for creating music, a device for playing things that don't sound like scales, right? Playing licks, and when you're done, it doesn't sound like you're playing a scale. We'll also use it as a device to get to learn the fretboard a little bit more. So where I'm going with this is, I'm not a huge fan of doing exercises for exercises' sake. Unless you're working on something like, straight finger exercises to improve your finger dexterity, or maybe work on your pinky strength. To me, that's acceptable, right? But for the most part, exercises just for exercises doesn't really lend anything for application on the guitar, for creating music and for making things sound musical. So why not, if you're going to do the exercises, learn how to incorporate them with devices and make them musical, so you could use them in real playing applications. This exercise we're going to do can work with any scale, and today we'll use it with minor pentatonic scales. I'll example out some of those, and also we'll do it with some natural minor scales. And could you do me a huge favor? Please subscribe to the channel. Subscribing to the channel, that really helps us to keep bringing the content, as well as then you'll be notified when we have new lessons posted. Leave a comment below. Let me know how you like this lesson. Let me know what lessons you'd like to see in the future. And if you like the video, please click the like button, give it a thumbs up, share it, and thank you so much for your support. And the jam track that I was playing over in the beginning of the lesson, that's in the key of E minor, and I want to thank Elevated Jam Tracks. I got that jam track from them and their whole collection. They put out some really cool sounding jam tracks. If you're interested in those, I'll put a link to that below also, so you can check those out. And this jam track, key of E minor, the main riff, it just goes from using power chords, E minor to G and D, back to E minor, and then it goes A, G, F, E minor, right? And then there's another passage later on in the track. I'll put all the chords in text that you're playing over. It's so important. Always know the chords that you're playing over, because it's the chords that give you the full roadmap to all the soloing and improvisational avenues. We're in the key of E minor, so let's use E natural minor. I'll show you a couple shapes of those, and also E minor pentatonic. So E natural minor off of the A string root, 7th fret on that A string. The scale looks like this. All right, now it's important to just don't learn the shapes. As long as you're doing this, learn the notes and know where those root notes are, right? We have an E note here. We also have another one here on the G string, right? And those notes are E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, move back to E. In that key of E minor, there's only one accidental. That's the F sharp. Now, you could use this on the low E string root E natural minor scale, and that's at the 12th fret. That shape looks like this. You're probably familiar with this 12th position because E minor pentatonic is in there right here too. So the basic box shape, E minor pentatonic off that 12th fret, we're going to use that also. Those are just the notes E, G, A, B, D. So that scale looks like this. So now we have our scales, our building blocks. Let's get into the actual device. We're going to be playing these scales in thirds. We're going to be playing 3 notes of the scale, then we back up 1, then we play the next 3 notes, then we back up 1, then we play the next 3 notes. This is great for just learning the scale, learning the fretboard, and we're going to make it musical on top of that. But let's get the exercise down first. So what you do is you play the first 3 notes of the scale. Here we'll use the one off the 7th fret, A string. All right, so you're playing that E, F sharp, and G, then back up 1 note, and then you start from there. So then you would start from the F sharp, play the 2nd note in the scale, and play the next 3 notes. So here it is slow, the first 6 notes. All right, now a couple things. You could count that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 if you want to count the 3s. And obviously, you could do this. We'll have some lessons. You could do these in 4s. You could do these in 5s. It's a great device. The one thing too, what I do is I leave the fingers down. 1, 2, 3. My first finger is still down. And my third finger is down actually. Then just pick up the pinky. 1, 2, 3, pick up the pinky. 1, 2, then first finger you gotta move down to the D string. So here's the first 9 notes. Back up 1, back up 1, so then you start with the pinky, right? Then start with the first finger. 3 notes, start with the third finger. Pinky, start with the first finger. Start with the third finger. First finger, 1, 2, 3. Second finger, 1, 2, 3, right? Pinky, 1, 2, 3. Then you start with that first finger, and then second finger. And I like to slide up to the root note if you can at the end, just because I want you to hear that. You always develop that ear, right? So important as a musician. I want you to hear that E for that resolution. You want to be able to do it ascending and descending and really get it under your fingers. So obviously you got to know the scale, and then you got to really drill it with this. So if I pick up that speed a little bit, you can hear where it's starting to sound a little bit more interesting. And if you want to do it descending, 3, back up 1, back up 1, back up 1. They sound really cool descending them when you put them in licks. Let's move up to that other shape of E natural minor, and we'll just do it descending. Here it is slow. And so on and so forth, right? So let's take the pentatonic scale and do that one slow, right? Starting with the low E string, do the first 3 notes of the scale. So you're doing that E, G, A, then back up a note. Go back to the G, A, and B. Then your next 3, which would be A, D, and D, right? So here's the first 9. All right, if we just do that slow through the whole scale, ascending. Descending. You want to get that under your fingers. That's the first step. Know the scale, know the notes of the scale, and then start playing it in 3s, counting them in 3s, ascending and descending, and now let's make it musical. And if you want to see some of these scales diagrammed out on paper, because sometimes it's nice to have that visual connection to see it in front of you. You could print them out and have them in front of you when you're practicing, right? Click on that link in the YouTube description box below. I'll send you a killer ebook of mine. It's my largest rock blues soloing ebook. It's packed with 29 scale diagrams, lessons, major minor key, lessons on modal playing. You'll really like it. It'll really help you along in your guitar journey. I'll also pair that ebook with a video lesson on some easy ways to spice up your soloing, and I'll send both of them to you for free. Video lesson, extended play. It's not on YouTube, and the ebook. Get both for free. Just click on that link below. So a real easy way that you could start making it musical is just play a few of them in thirds and then stop, and then use like a vibrato, and then continue, but back up a string, and then go down again. What I mean by that is, like, if we két this one we did in E pentatonic minor. If I take it in 3s down to the D string. Now back up a string and start it over, but start on the A string. And you go 3 strings. You put 2 of those together. Right, and you do the next string up, which would be the D string. Right? I end it with the G and end it on the high E. So you can... Right, how many times have you heard licks like that? But then what you want to do is you want to start adding licks, and add licks into the thirds. So let's just take a basic pentatonic lick. All right, I added the blues note there, right? But real easy kind of lick. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll go back. We'll go back to that A string, and we'll start playing the thirds. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now when I get to the G string, I add in the lick, right? If we put it together. All right, we add a couple extra notes in there, and then you build up the speed. Right, and you start, adding in licks to make it musical. So let's take this E natural minor scale. We'll take the top 3 strings. Right, maybe we have a lick like this. Right, where we're bending that B string. vibrato. So descend your thirds. When I got to that, to the B string, I abandoned the thirds and then put in the lick. Right? And it's an easy way where we could use this. So think of these thirds instead of all the way down and all the way up like you were practicing them. Because you wouldn't do that when you're in a jam all the way down and all the way. Just like you wouldn't play a scale all the way down and all the way up, right? That's not music. That's not musical. You have to take them and work them. You have to work the notes. You have to work in the licks with bends and vibrato and slides and right like we're doing now. And then add those in and combine them. And now you're talking, right? Let's just take this other lick here. We'll go back to our E natural minor scale up here off of the A string root and do the same thing. All right, I descended thirds. Got in that beautiful half step bend to our root note, right? Let's do another one, maybe off of this the high E note here, sliding. All right, that one's kind of cool. I added that E minor triad. Right off our G string root, there's our E note. It's our triad, but we put it in with our thirds. That sounds really cool. Let's throw in this lick now. All right, that's kind of like minor 7th arpeggio, E minor 7th arpeggio. We're just taking the top, pull off, triad, a minor 7 arpeggio because we're adding this note here. That's the lick, but maybe we'll ascend it first, doing something like this in thirds, starting on our root note. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, slide. Slide back. Here it is a little faster. All right, so we're starting to get fancy. That sounds expensive, right? We're adding in some different types of arpeggios and in with our scales, in with our triads, in with our thirds, and we're really making it musical because we have these thirds under our fingers, and there's so much we could do with them. And like I said, they work at any scale, so you really want to, once you get them under your fingers, as far as playing the technique, you know, think of them in fragments, think musically, and just start adding your licks to them, and you'll come up with so much cool stuff. You can build up the speed, kind of repeat them, use them as some flash. And you could use them to start to connect your ideas and scales, because you could go from one shape into the other. You start to get some cool things as you're moving across the neck instead of just vertically up and down. And then you could connect it to maybe a triad lick. Right? And you're kind of now moving across, learning, you know, to connect your shapes together. And keep in mind what I said before too, you know, it's really important not just learning the shapes, but spending the extra time to know the notes and the intervals, right? And studying also the relationship between scales and chords, between, you know, arpeggios and scales and chords. And that'll really tie your music training together and really help you to apply musically on the guitar. Have fun with it. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. Really helps us to keep bringing the content, as well as then you'll be notified when we have new lessons posted. And also click on that link below. I'll send you my killer rock blues soloing ebook, which has like 29 scales diagrammed out. It's nice to see them on paper. You can print them out. Super cool. I'll send that with a video lesson on some easy ways to spice up your soloing. Killer 1-2 Punch. It's not on YouTube. Extended play. Click on that link below. I'll send both of them to you for free. And if you want to check out some of my original music, I recently dropped a new record with my original band Mind Cell. We're based out of San Diego. I think it's a slamming record. I'd love for you to hear it. It's some of the best music I've ever written. It's streaming on all the platforms. I'll put links to that also in the YouTube description box. And then if you have any questions on the songs or the gear I used, or maybe the studio production or the studio time, whatever, you know, drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for checking out this lesson. Thank you so much for your support over the years and years. So appreciated. Keep up all that hard work on those guitars. Keep having fun with them. And remember, your playing is an evolution. So enjoy the journey. Take care, rock on, and I'll see you in the next lesson.